Hey, consider this a warning that the quality of this video is going to be different to a normal one. Not worse, but different. I'm not in my usual recording spot. Long story short, after the whole lawsuit thing, Green forced me to move back in with him and Yellow. Luckily, since Blue's not coming back anytime soon, I've commandeered their room as a temporary recording studio. That's also where some of the weird audio issues come in. If you hear a humming, it's because of that. Well, I've inconvenienced you enough. Without further ado, let's talk about what you came here for. Wait, are you insane? We can't use the licensed music from the OST. The YouTube Mafia would kill us. Hell, they'll probably have my head for just those 2 seconds. Use the non-licensed music. Close call. Where were we? Alright. Burnout Paradise. You might have heard of this game. You might not have. What matters is I have, and I loved it as a kid. Now, full credit goes to my dad, who bought this game and introduced me to it. I never would have sought out this kind of game on my own. I wasn't a car kid. I was all about trains, baby! Let's go trains! Woo! Yeah, jokes aside, this game is awesome. It's the only car game that ever clicked with me. Gran Turismo was boring, and I've never really found myself in a position to play a Forza game, and everything else just never interested me. Not counting kart races, of course. I loved those damn things. Most of the time. But yeah, Burnout Paradise was a game that really clicked with me as a young'un on my PS3. Today we're going to be asking the question, why? Well, let's start off with a brief history of the franchise.
Who the hell is that?
Oh, dude, I need to stop drinking this.
Is that a bionicle?
I think it's that Yuxaredd guy.
Guy? I thought it was a
I
girl.
think it's a robot. We should probably stop whispering because it can probably hear us.
Hey guys, I need to go to the toilet.
Hold it in!
Sorry for the sudden intrusion, but I figured I'd swing by and grab some stuff.
No problem. What kind of stuff?
Yeah, you know, petrol, supplies, information.
Information?
Yes, I'm looking for one Gary Clayton. Heard of him? Well?
Never heard of him.
Really?
Yep,
You sure?
definitely.
So that's not Gary Clayton harassing an underage male waiter over there.
Wait, he's a guy?
Gary Clayton, you have information that I require. Hand it over calmly, or I will be forced to get violent.
Okay, counterpoint. Suck my Disney.
Ugh, every time with these people. Every time. Is it me? Do I need to be less threatening? What do you guys think? I'll take that as a yes. I'll keep that in mind for next time. This thing on? Damn camera got a mind of its own sometimes. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Picture this. It's 2008, or 2009, or 2010. Honestly, I don't fully remember. Point is, I'm exposed to Burnout Paradise for the PS3, and something clicks. This is unprecedented. I showed no interest in cars or Gran Turismo, so why did Burnout Paradise just click? Well, let's start at the beginning, because that's what you do. This game immediately hits you with Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, which is a song that is perfect for this kind of game. Not perfect for this kind of video though, because the copyright system is bogus. Within 5 minutes, you're on the road, and this is where we've already hit the first thing that makes this game such a treat to play. It's got nothing to do with the visuals, which I will admit don't hold much ground today. They've got a bad case of 7th gen grit. But if I kill the music, and let you listen for a second, you'll pick it up quickly. The sound design. I'm sure lots of games have good car sound design, but Burnout just clicks. the way that the engines sound, the way that the nitro pitches up the engine when used, the Doppler effect applied to nearly everything, and the way that all audio cuts out right before a crash. I'm sure other racing games have this level of detail, I'm practically guaranteeing it, but Burnout's sound design has stuck with me for all these years. It makes the car feel that much faster. But the cars themselves? Yeah, they're alright. Some of them are a bit tanky at higher speeds, but that's probably fair because the cars in this game are insanely fast. Plus, the game will usually warn you of this in the description for each vehicle. Would have been nice to have some kind of stat though, since they went out of their way to give us these three. How hard would it have been to add a fourth as its handling? And you'll have experienced this within the first 5 minutes.
Dude, really?
Get back in, you rusty son of a... Jesus Christ, this thing was bleeding.
No, he's driving away. Whatever will I...
And we're back. I guess I must have bumped the camera during the move, it keeps dropping out. Let's talk about the main selling point of Burnout Paradise, the open world nature of the game. Now, let's make it clear that I've got a mixed track record with open world games. Some of them, like GTA 5 or Spider-Man PS4, I really vibe with. Others, like Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk, I never really felt any interest in. However, I can confidently say that Burnout is the kind of open world I like. Which is to say, I can go really fast across it. Like, really fast. Maybe a little too fast. Okay, yeah, I crashed a lot. But I don't really care. You crash, and you're back into the fun within seconds. And the map is pretty diverse, albeit mainly split into the dense city half and the more rural mountainside. There's 8 major locations on this map, corresponding to the 8 points on a compass. The playable space consists of all these roads you can see, plus a bunch of little shortcuts that aren't visible on the map. Overall, the map is decently sized for an early 7th gen game, with it being supposedly around 43 kilometers squared. For an idea of scale, the map from GTA 5 is supposedly 48 kilometers squared. Although, please take these numbers with a grain of salt, since in GTA 5 all of that space is walkable, whereas in Burnout Paradise, the second you leave the road, your car instantly wrecks itself. Because of this, you might say,
Well, this game isn't really open world.
and to that I say, well yeah, maybe. But it's open world enough for me, and the Wikipedia page calls it open world, and compared to previous games in the franchise, it is definitely worthy of being called open world. The game still has the race function of the previous games, with them being in the form of events found at almost every intersection. There's a few different game modes, my favourite probably being Marked Man, since it's the most intense and heart-pounding of them. As for the others, races are alright, stunt runs are a little irritating but doable, and as for the others, no comment. Open world car games have obviously come a long way since this, but Burnout's open world still holds some ground.
Come on! Damn it! Hey, Toby, it's Gary. Gary Clayton. I'll be real with you, I have no clue how long I have left, so I'm calling to warn you. I think someone's found out about DirectX. That thing I made with SC in April. Yeah, so... We all knew this day would come. Goodbye, Toby.
Stop the car this instant.
I had that one coming. Again? This camera is really starting to get on my nerves. Luckily, I have the perfect remedy for pent-up rage. It's showtime. One of the best parts about Burnout is the carnage and chaos. The best way to demonstrate what I mean is showtime, which allows your car to flop around like a dying fish and destroy everything in its path. The sound design, once again, is on point with this game mode, and even though I personally suck at it, if you get a good run, it's destructively addictive. Keep a run going long enough and you'll end up with a shape that is distinctly not car-like. But don't worry, car destruction isn't limited to just this mode. Your car can turn into a pancake whenever you please if you drive poorly enough. Not to mention the great camera angles you get when performing takedowns or being taken down. Oh, sometimes. Sometimes the camera angles wig out like crazy, but it is a game from 2008, so I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. See, when you win a race, you'll be given a new car, but instead of actually being given it, the car will now begin driving around the city, driven by an AI. It's then up to you to find it and take it down before it will be added to your collection. This little addition helps to extend the overall playtime, and encourages the player to drive around the city more, familiarising themselves with it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is the only game ever to have a mode dedicated to causing property damage. GTA Online is nothing but property damage nowadays. Saints Row had its dedicated insurance fraud missions, and don't sit here and pretend like you haven't killed families on Roller Coaster Tycoon just to see what would happen. Don't lie to me.
No crap.
Start talking. What do you know about Project DirectX?
DirectX? Psh, that was the codename for the original Xbox.
You know what I'm referring to. And if you don't start talking, I'm going to blow your brains out.
All of this was enough for a good game. But when did this game go from good to great? Well, put simply, it wasn't one little thing. It was a collection of little things that on their own would mean very little, but when united, managed to make this a game I came back to repeatedly for years. Even now, over 10 years after the game's release, I come back to it. These aren't in any order, so let's just shoot off randomly and go by them one by one. When Burnout came out, one thing that some people didn't like was DJ Atomica, the game's radio announcer. I personally feel he does a pretty alright job. Not amazing, but there were very few times where I found myself bothered by his small comments after a race or when picking up a new car. The billboards placed around Paradise City have fun little fictional brands on them that you won't notice unless you go looking for them. That said, there's a few actual brands in here, and you have no idea the visceral fear that I felt when I turned a corner and saw a Burger King advert in my funny car game. One thing I intentionally missed out in the open world section was the inclusion of hidden areas. There's 4 areas that aren't visible on the map that you can drive around in. And while I can't spoil it for you, I do want to tell you a story about one of them. Back when I had this game on the PS3, there was one area I always loved to go to. It was open and it had a few good jumps, but I could never find it. Every now and again I'd find it and swear that this time I wasn't going to forget it. But I always did. While gathering footage I found it again. The Quarry, one of 4 hidden spots across this map, and my personal favourite. They could have easily made this more visible on the map, but instead they made it hidden away from Paradise City. You might also be expecting me to mention Big Surf Island, which was a DLC for Burnout Paradise released only on the PS3 and Xbox 360. The only way I'd be able to get it would be to buy the remaster, which I really don't want to do, since from what I've heard the remaster is a tad unstable. There's so much more to discover, but that is up to you to find. Also, I'm still thinking about the Burger King billboards and I can't focus anymore.
So, here's the deal. You give me the USB on Project DirectX, and I will respect your last wishes. If you don't give me the USB, I'll just take it off your corpse.
Kind of seems like I don't get a choice here.
Yeah, you've been kind of a pain to track down. Plus, no witnesses.
Ah, fine, just take it.
Alright, cool. Final wishes?
Take off your hood, Yuxaredd. What? I reverse engineered the code we used to nearly kill your brother. Think I'm not smart enough to know it's you? Ha! Gary Clayton is right again. Guess you were. Let's see if you were right about hell not being real.
So, what's the verdict on Burnout Paradise? It's a game I will go years without playing. Sometimes I'll even forget I have it on PC. But when I find it and sit down behind the wheel of a car, it all comes flooding back to me. It's a game with a really addictive gameplay loop, a fun world to explore, and most of all, just plain enjoyable carnage. It really is paradise. Oh, and a quick disclaimer before I wrap up. I've been talking about the original 2008 version of the game, which you can no longer purchase on Steam. You can purchase the remaster though, on both Steam and Origin. Tangent time, I despise Origin. It's terrible to use. I only have 3 games on the service, those being Sims 4, Battlefield 5, and Spore Galactic Adventures. Do you want to know what they have in common? I was given every single one of them for free. Origin is everything wrong with PC gaming. That being, every damn company has their own launcher. Origin, Uplay, Battle.net, Epic Games, Rockstar Launcher, the goddamn Microsoft Store, and so on, and so forth. I despise it. What was so bad about Steam? I'm usually pretty anti-monopoly, but Steam's the only one of these I deem to be good, and I would happily toss the rest of them in the fire if it meant that getting all of the games on Steam instead. Almost every other launcher is clunky, slow, or just horrible to navigate. Why is Steam the only one that's even remotely tolerable? Now Sony is going to make their own too? What monkey's paw did I wish upon when asking for a Little Big Planet PC port? This is literally 1984, and I am going to blow up a... So yeah, I'm not a fan of the Origin launcher. Thankfully, Burnout Remastered is on Steam. Not so thankfully, it has mixed reviews. But hey, if you want to play Burnout, it's either this, piracy, or playing on a console. That's all I've got to say. Burnout good. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go figure out why this camera is refusing to work.
Oh, come on. That's only like 33% of the files. Ugh. Well, back to work, I guess. They miss me. Well, they needn't worry. I'll be back before they know it.